What is a not fun fact? There are 8 unaccounted for American nukes and literally an unknown quantity of missing Soviet nukes that range all the way from warheads to suitcase bombs. The reason you're supposed to contact a doctor if you have an erection lasting longer than 4 hours is because prolonged priapism can lead to gangrene of the dick. Blood goes in, deoxygenates, but can't leave, so there's no way for fresh oxygenated blood to come in, causing the tissue to turn black and die. Don't worry, though, this can be treated by using a big syringe to suck the trapped blood out. Horses can't throw up, so if they eat something bad or get a bad gas bubble, they just lay down and die. Valentine's Day is a holiday with one of the highest suicide rates. When you get a sunburn, it's actually your cells dying, so they don't get tumorous. In the United States, roughly 1/3 of all food is thrown away each year. People who commit suicide by jumping off a bridge, those who don't die from the impact, drown because the impact breaks enough bones that prevents them from swimming. There is a mysterious illness called the sweating sickness that hit in multiple small epidemics in the early modern era. It was incredibly contagious and massively deadly, with about a 50% average death rate, but it could be higher. It began with an ominous sense of apprehension, followed by severe pains in the neck and giddiness. They then abruptly stopped and switched to heavy sweating, headaches and delirium. Finally, the person was hit with an extreme urge to sleep, and it was thought to be fatal if you fell to it. We know almost nothing about it, nothing about how it spread, how it was caused, only that if you got it, you were either surviving or dead within 24 hours. There are horror stories of people leaving town on hunting trips and returning the same day to find almost everybody in the village dead, with only a few scattered survivors. The worst thing was, you did not gain immunity. You could live through the sweating sickness once, and then get it a few days later and die, or live through it 2 or 3 times, and then get it and die. It was horrific, and we don't know why it disappeared, and we don't know if it will ever return. Edit. I seem to be posting the wiki link a lot, so here it is. https://wikipedia.org/wiki/sweating_sickness. There is a genetic disease called FOP, where your muscles and tissue turn to bone, often called human statue disease. Eventually people may have to decide whether they want to become frozen in a sitting or flat/standing position. The lemmings are not suicidal, and the documentary What Filmed It was actually showing lemmings getting thrown down a cliff because they needed the scene, but couldn't make the animals do it. You can smell your own lungs. Your brain just filters out the smell. People with extreme scurvy start to have all of their old wounds open up. Everything with a scar is held together via an active process with collagen, and without vitamin C just sort of stop. Urine was used for teeth whitening and bleaching of clothes in ancient Rome. Yes, they rinsed their mouth with human and animal urine. Spider rain, you read that right, is a real and naturally occurring phenomenon. Some perfumes, or more specifically, musks you use, come from the anal and secretion glands of musk deers and civet cats. A blue-ringed octopus, found in the Pacific, is a tiny and cute little guy, but one painless bite gives enough venom to kill 25 male adults. Edit. Change sting to bite. Also note, as long as you are given medical attention within an hour of you receiving the bite, you'll be fine. In 2017, 10,000 people died awaiting their disability decision. Cute, fuzzy little sea otters are known to rape baby seals to death. If you eat a polar bear liver, you will die. Humans can't handle that much vitamin A. Bedbugs procreate by traumatic insemination. Males literally stab females with their genitals. So, just another reason to hate them then. Male dolphins like to hunt fertile female in groups and hound them because they are unwilling. The females are often injured during this. Some even die. Migraines and strokes carry a lot of the same symptoms, so if you suffer regular migraines you may not notice you're actually dying one day. In Australia there is a plant called the gympie which has such a severe sting that horses who brush against it throw themselves off cliffs because they'd rather die than continue to experience the pain. A man once had a tapeworm get cancer. That cancer metastasized, and the man died from tumors of tapeworm throughout his entire body. A certain type of anglerfish reproduce via the male burrowing into the side of the female, eventually fusing. The male life is lost in the process. Rabies is terrifying. You can get it and not even know it from bats, which live across the globe. It might hit you right away. It might be in 3 years. But it doesn't matter because once symptoms set in, you're already dead. Climbing Mount Everest has a 5% mortality rate. What's more harrowing is that if you die, you will most likely be left there. There's currently over 200 dead bodies on Everest that are irretrievable and now serve as markers for other climbers. Not a bad place to eternally rest, but upsetting for those left behind who can't give you a proper burial. If a hamster gets too stressed, it will eat its kids. It was once thought for birds, parrots, magpies, to learn to talk, you had to release their tongue. This was done by cutting their tongue completely or partly off. Of course without any anesthesia or painkillers. The tongue release plays absolutely no role in the bird's ability to talk. There exist in the world, at this moment, more jugulars than polar bears. The #1 cause of death among pregnant women is murder. The search and rescue dogs on 9/11 were getting so sad from finding only dead bodies. The human helpers buried themselves in the rubble so that the dogs could find them and be happy. Most power outages in the US are caused by squirrels. The FBI estimates there are between 25 to 50 active serial killers in the US at any given time. Did my dissertation on serial killers. The FBI's estimate is vastly low. There are hundreds, if not thousands of serial killers living among us. Also, consider the fact that you only have to kill 3 people to be considered a serial killer. I use the word only with some irony. According to the World Bank Group, the world produces about 2 billion tons of garbage every year. The threat of a deadly bird flu spreading to humans is always there. It takes just a little bit of negligence in screening chickens for this to happen. Despite being the largest mammal, blue whales do not have large assholes. They defecate with an anus the size of a grapefruit. If you are an identical twin, it is very possible that you and your siblings' identities were swapped and your parents never caught it. During WW1 thousands of dogs were taken from families for the war effort, and when the war was over most of them were just shot because it was cheaper than feeding them for the trip home and finding their homes. Himalayan blackberries can allegedly grow under your skin. The image that most people have of blobfish is based on a misconception. People think that's what they look like all the time, but blobfish adapted to live in deep waters, which means the deeper you go, the more water pressure there is. Their bodies are not meaty like fish, but more gelatinous, because they adapted to the water pressure. If you accidentally pull them to higher levels, but with less water pressure, their bodies don't handle it well. BC there's nothing keeping their bodies intact, so their bodies explode. Basically, every photo you've seen of a blobfish where they look big and pink and, of course, blobby is a photo of a dead blobfish. Merchandise and cartoons designed after what they look like dead. Hell, they're referred to as what they look like dead. The reason dogs love squeaky toys is because they sound like small animals dying. One of our dogs had one of those fake pregnancies some dogs get, and some wires must have gotten crossed. Because after that, she started treating squeaky toys as if they were puppies, getting hella mad at our other dog when she played with them. Much to the confusion of said other dog, she'd collect all the squeaky toys and put them with her in her basket. She got less extreme with it later on, but she just didn't play with squeaky toys after that. The youngest person to ever give birth to a baby was a 5-year-old little girl. Certain sleep disorders that cause you to act out your dreams are strong predictors that you're developing a neurodegenerative disorder like Parkinson's or Lewy body dementia. I wish I didn't recently learn about it. Not me, a loved one. Some of us will die in a few hours. Every day several hundred babies are born in withdrawal. Oftentimes when pandas have cubs, if they have more than one they will choose which one to keep and abandon the other because she can't care for two. Grizzlies are the opposite. If they have a litter of just one, sometimes they'll abandon it and try to mate again the next year to try for a litter of multiple cubs. Edited to @ thanks everyone. Never thought these sad bear facts would blow up. To all the people saying pandas are obeying China's one-child law, this is true. Pandas are good law-abiding boys and girls. To the person who gave me the wholesome award, maybe rethink your priorities, haha. But thank you nonetheless. Also, I think a cub exchange program between grizzlies and pandas is a superb idea. Let's get started on Growler for bears. There is a non-zero maximum threshold for the amount of cockroach that can be present in ground coffee because it is literally impossible to keep them out entirely.